From the Schaefer Sports Hall of Fame in Tempe, it's time for Sun Devil Extra, presented by Spring Hill Suites, Phoenix, Scottsdale. Braiden Bell alongside Arizona State Athletic Director Graham Rossini. And Graham, here we are, another week into the athletic calendar, and we're going to talk again about Arizona State hockey to get things going. You would think when it's 75 degrees and sunny outside every day, you might talk about other sports off the top, but here we are. ASU's a hockey school, baby.
Ice hockey's hot.
Yeah.
Let's keep riding the hot hand. We got playoff hockey on the horizon, and super excited about that.
So let's dig in and talk about what many tabbed this past weekend as maybe the biggest weekend in ASU program history, albeit a young program history, but still relevant enough. Number 3, Western Michigan was in town, and I don't know if you could have asked for a better two-game stretch Friday, Saturday. The fans were packed into Mullet Arena. It was a wonderful environment. Students showed up in a big way, and they were just treated to a couple of phenomenal hockey games. Friday night, the win and an empty net goal that was rather remarkable in the end, and then an overtime loss on Saturday.
Yeah, there's so many things to think back on the weekend, and I would agree it's probably arguably the most significant weekend of hockey that this program has ever played. And with what was at stake, with where we are on our trajectory, 6 points up for grabs. We got 4 of them. Unbelievably electric win Friday night, and just the Mullet Maniacs going crazy. It was all the atmosphere. I think the combination of the weekend was probably our 40th plus student section sellout. Obviously the arena was sold out as well, and just really proud of the fan base that's grabbed onto this hockey program and loves it every single chance they can. And it makes a difference for the players. And when you're riding that wave and you're playing meaningful games late in the season here, late in February, and you beat the number 3 team on your home ice, and you get a chance to stay in that conversation, still with a chance to win the regular season, get really good, strong positioning for hopefully hosting the first round of the NCHC playoffs here on campus. Unbelievable atmosphere. Really proud of Coach Powers and the team, and I thought a very appropriate senior send-off for our 2 seniors, and hard to believe that now there's only 2 players in the program that would have experienced Oceanside, and really appreciate the growth and development of our program. But here we are, and competing at a top 10 level, competing for a conference championship, and could not be prouder of where this program is.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it was quite the send-off for those 2 seniors, like you said. One more regular season weekend to come, and they take on the team that's right behind them in the standings as we speak in Omaha this upcoming weekend. And another opportunity, like you said, not only to try to stay on the heels of Western Michigan, but try to also stay in front of Omaha and host in the conference tournament as well.
And Omaha will be a great test. I mean, that's really been an elite program in the conference this year. They've really come on as of late, and so we've got a good test on the road this weekend, and we don't have we're off next weekend while some of the other conference foes are still competing, and so we'll do a little bit of scoreboard watching. But really important to come away with as many points as we can this weekend and position ourselves for, again, a chance at number 1 in the Penrose Cup, and if not, holding secure on the second spot in order of coming home and again, playoff hockey in Mullet Arena. It's amazing to say.
It's going to be electric, to say the very least. And, of course, this weekend will be a lot of fun to watch on the road against Omaha. Graham, I know you also wanted to talk about and address some technical issues that took place on the stream, specifically on Saturday against Western Michigan. Obviously, there were a lot of eyeballs on this weekend against the Broncos, and there were a couple of technical difficulties I know you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, it was really helpful feedback. I got to Mullet Arena midway through the second period, was at baseball and then softball, and then got in the arena and started plugging in on where we were in hockey, and checked on Twitter and had a lot of feedback from people commenting on live stream wasn't up to par, and Commissioner Weems reached out and said, hey, there's some technical difficulties going on. Want to make sure that you're looped in on it. And so we jumped on it. It was an unfortunate afternoon where we just didn't have the right connections. We didn't have the right people to help troubleshoot it real time. And it was not our best foot forward in terms of how we wanted that live stream to go. And so very accountable, very apologetic. I mentioned that on Twitter. That was not what we wanted to deliver for our fans. It was helpful to get that feedback and understand, let's understand where we went wrong, where we were not prepared, where we were unable to attack it real time. And it's a good problem to have in that the arena's sold out, but we've also got people all over the country now that want to tune in and really rely on the NCHC TV live stream. And so great feedback. We'll be ready when we come back in the conference tournament to put our best foot forward. Also had some feedback over the weekend on baseball and softball, and what we need to do a better job messaging is that life in the Big 12 is mechanically different than the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 network was a great tool for us and really a large part of our digital infrastructure. We don't have that in the Big 12. We have the benefit of ESPN and Fox, but a lot of the live stream responsibilities fall to ASU, and so we've got to grow into that. We've got to continue. I think we've got 50 contractual events in our Big 12 contract. That's going to grow to about 111 next year, and so we'll continue to have more of the full production, full show live streams moving forward. This year, we're kind of growing into this existence. It's very technically complicated. It's very expensive, and it's a huge undertaking that in the quick transition from the Pac-12 to the Big 12, we didn't quite have all those pieces in place. But we understand where we need to go, and we're collecting that feedback. And I made the call with the baseball weekend to say we didn't have games on radio because basketball was on the road and we have hockey going on, and just one of those weekends in February we have a lot of action. I felt like a version of Lion Stream would be better than nothing. And
right.
So not the full truck show. Obviously, you were part of that for the first weekend against Ohio State, but I just felt like having something available for fans to tune in and watch was better than nothing.
Yeah.
We probably could have done a better job of communicating that, hey, this isn't the full show. This is a modified show, but it's, again, a way to follow the action in lieu of everything else going on. But fair feedback and very helpful from our fans to say, like, hey, let's raise the stakes a little bit. Let's do a little bit better. And we hear you loud and clear, and we're going to get that right.
Well, and I think fans would appreciate what you just said there, just kind of explaining it, because people don't understand the undertaking that goes into putting on all these events. It's a lot.
It's a lot, and we're lucky. The Cronkite School continues to be an unbelievable partner of ours. They've got a vested interest in the live stream as well, and it's a great platform for students to get hands-on experience that propel them into the next chapter of their career. Mm-hmm. You're a decorated alum doing that now on the other side of graduating, and so we want to be mindful of providing students with the opportunity to plug in and be a part of it, and have them with faculty and professionals to learn from every step of the way. And so it's a soup. We're kind of modifying the soup. We're adjusting the ingredients as we get forward. We're just in that time of year where we have so much going on, and I think the feedback was fair on, we want something available, but let's make sure we're putting our best foot forward if we are going to make that effort, because we don't want people to perceive our intentions the wrong way and have a good effort fall on deaf ears and maybe not be received the way that we were hoping.
No doubt. Let's move on to Sun Devil baseball now, and what a great start to the season it's been for Willie Bloomquist's squad. 6-1. That one loss coming in the ninth inning, where it was a big-time comeback for Oral Roberts. But another good weekend at Muni overall. The thing I want to start our conversation with here is the pitching staff, and specifically the starting pitching staff. Ben Jacobs, Cade, 11 on Friday night. You see our Martinez was great again on Saturday, and then Jaden Alba on Sunday. It seems like a pretty solid, and albeit very early in the year, but a pretty solid top three in the starting rotation.
Yeah, I would agree. Really excited about the starting pitching performances out the gate. And again, early in the season, still a little cool outside. You're building guys up on pitch count, but from Ben Jacobs to go from week 1 to week 2 and just tighten up a few things mechanically, 11 strikeouts in 5 innings, as you mentioned. Unbelievable what he's going to be capable of as you start thinking of as he builds up that stamina, pitch count, etc. Martinez gives you that just veteran presence, and his performance Saturday I thought was a lot better than the box score would indicate. He had maybe a rough inning and a third, but other than that was dominant, got us into the 6th inning. And then Jaden Alba, I remember last year when he made his debut late in the season, he wasn't an arm that we relied on very early on, but he came out and that ball is electric coming out. And so the fact that he's made a big progression from occasional relief innings as a freshman to a Sunday starter as a sophomore, there's more in the tank there. He's got electric stuff. He's got great moxie and mound presence, and so very excited to see the progression that he's making. And again, a lot of credit to Jeremy Accardo coming in, the pitching lab, and how they're able to utilize that. There's been some really exciting performances out of the bullpen. Josh Butler is another guy that's taken a huge step forward year over year, and we haven't yet seen Rowan Leto or Cole Carlone coming in and getting some more starting innings. I know they will this week against UCLA, and really excited about what this team's capable of. It's a well-balanced team. I was talking to Coach Bloomquist after the game Friday or Saturday night, 10 stolen bases. We've got hit and run, we've got slash, we've got delayed steal, we've got straight steals, we've got 3-run bombs, we've got a little bit of everything, and this team is just fun to watch. There's an electricity and a chemistry that you're starting to sense in the first couple weekends, and so very excited with a 6-1 start, very close to being, maybe a pitch away from a 7-0 start.
Yeah.
But a lot of fun baseball ahead for the Sun Devils.
You made a great point. They kind of have that it factor, it seems like, very early on. But they have that kind of magic sauce that you look for in the early starts of a season.
Well, you tend to see that with veteran position player rosters. And, some of the games that we rolled out, 8 of the 9 starters are juniors or seniors. Right. And there's no replacement for that that calmness, that assurance, and even some of the early games where they've been down early, you could tell, like, they're not rattled. They know, let's stick to our game plan. We're going to get the big hit. We're going to have the right situational offense and do what we need to do. But then they're also that they're having fun out there. You see Kyle Walker, and he's diving all over the field defensively. He's going to get his back going. He's going to be a spark plug on this team. The fact that all these guys are capable of stealing a bag. I think Toby's got a couple bags already, and just smart base running. And, there's speed, but then there's also the ability to understand what it means to be a good base runner, and we're seeing a really well-balanced roster and a lot of guys who haven't even had a chance to really get in and contribute quite yet.
Yeah, 9.4 runs per game so far through 7 games this year for ASU, so the offense certainly can produce, like Graham said, in many different ways. They'll take on a couple of Big Ten teams this week, midweek against UCLA on the road, and then
it's weird to hear.
It felt weird to say. And then Minnesota this weekend at Muni against the Golden Gophers, a battle of maroon and golds at Phoenix Muni over the weekend. Speaking of over the weekend, let's flash it back now to this past weekend, and I don't think you're going to find a more gritty pair of wins than what women's basketball and men's basketball did this weekend. Women's basketball overtime against BYU, men's basketball at Kansas State. A couple of huge road wins for both those programs. Yeah,
we needed them, right? I mean, kind of going through these rough stretches on both the women's and the men's side, and for both of them to have great weekends. Just really gritty performances. I like the way that you said that. And, the men had some elite performances. The women, really battled into overtime and then just found that extra gear to go in that overtime. I remember watching it and just, you look up and like, hey, we were tied. Now we're up by 10.
Yeah.
Had a pretty secure, couple minutes in overtime to secure the victory on the road. And important time of year to start to find their footing. And both teams have been affected by injuries. Roster continues to evolve, particularly on the men's side. And so, as we go into the stretch run and the next week in the Big 12 tournament, starting on the women's side, shortly followed by the men's side, no better time than to find our footing and start playing tighter team basketball.
Yeah, you mentioned the roster evolving on the men's side. Of course, the news came out about B.J. Freeman no longer being with the team just a couple of hours before that K-State win. That's not an easy place to play, and already the injuries, like you said, to do with this roster. I mean, there was a lot of things going on outside of the floor. It was really impressive what they were able to do in terms of that win.
Yeah, we've talked to the team a few times and just want everybody to exhale and just understand that basketball should be the best part of their day and that they're getting a chance to represent their university, their families, play as a group of teammates representing the Sun Devils. And I think what you're starting to see on the men's side is just exhale and trust each other and use the full roster and let guys really play the basketball that they're familiar with. And I thought K-State was one of the most complete games that we played all year. Unfortunately, JQ at the end of the game has an injury, and we're awaiting some more information there. It'd be unfortunate to be without him the next couple of games. We'll see what happens there. But the guys that we have want to be here, and they're willing to step up. They're willing to play team basketball, and there's still some signs of life there. And I'm excited to see what they do down the end of the regular season and then as we get to Kansas City and kick off the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, so men's play against BYU on Wednesday, and how about the women's closing out their regular season against Arizona, of course, on Saturday early afternoon. So, of course, that's always a big one you circle. Closing out the first segment talking about softball, and seems like a weekly segment where we talk about Kelsey Hall and her brilliance since she joined the program. 462. How about 4 home runs, 14 RBIs, and an OPS, this is not a typo, of nearly 1,400 so far through the young season for Kelsey Hall. 6 home games coming up again this weekend, including against former Pac-12 foe Oregon State. But a lot of fun at Farrington. There's so much action going on week after week after week.
Yeah, Kelsey, and you put Tanya Wendell in there too.
Yes.
Just some veteran bats that are really off to good starts in the season, and very different from baseball in that they've got a few of the veteran pieces there that give you that stability and that presence at the dish. They both bring that, but then the very exciting freshman core that we're seeing the first 3 weeks of softball season. And I keep talking to Coach Bartlett. I mean, this is a fun team to watch, and it's an exciting brand of softball. We've been battle tested, 3 wins against ranked teams, a really hard fought game against number 3 Florida that kind of got away in the final innings on Friday. But this team's fun to watch, and Club Farrington known as a great experience. We're going to see that as the weather continues to improve and we get closer to Big 12 play. But you got to be excited with what we're seeing in softball. Pitching, having freshman pitching, having healthy pitching, and Kenzie Brown and some of the others, and just excited to see what they continue to grow into as the season progresses.
One note to talk about the youth movement. This comes from Joshua Fisher, who, of course, is the excellent SID for Arizona State softball. One of the youngest teams in the country. They've had 8 freshmen make at least one appearance so far this year. Those freshmen have combined to make 49 starts, accounting for 45% of all starts on the year. So nearly half the team is freshmen right now that have made appearances.
And it's cool to see when freshmen just step into the moment and they're secure and confident in their ability to say, we're ready for it. We're ready for Big 12. We're ready for Power 4. We don't need to grow into our ability to contribute. We're ready to kind of hit the ground running. And so it's just nice. And that's such a cool part about our job, is that you get to see these 18 and 19-year-olds that are transitioning from high school to the Power Four, and they just say, hey, we're in it. Let's go do our thing. Let's go play the sport that we love and we've known our whole lives. And it warms your heart when you see freshmen step in and just have that immediate contribution the way that we're seeing in softball, and excited to think about what they grow into as they settle in both this season and moving forward in their Sun Devil careers.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. See how they grow not only mentally but physically as well, not just for the rest of the season but in years to come. All right, we will move on now to segment number 2, and we've got a football themed show today. Assistant head coach Charlie Regal along with CJ Fight. They'll join us in the next 2 segments here on Sun Devil Extra.